So the only supervisors not here yet are Supervisors Hogan and Dickinson. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's February 11th, 3 days from Valentine's Day, I believe. And I'm sure everybody's got their Valentines in their minds. So I'm gonna call this meeting to order. What time is it? About 3:35, 3:40? Okay.
3:36.
Okay, since we don't have any other prior meetings, there's nothing to approve of. I will explain that this chair will rotate monthly. I'll step down, and the second on the list will then take over the next time if this committee meets again. And then it will be Bramer, then Garrity, Thomas, McGowan, so forth. So this will be a rotating chairmanship. I will step down, like I said, and let the next person in line chair it. So we have a very inclusive and broad spectrum of people chairing the committee. Let's go right to the action agenda items, new business. The first one, you all should have your agendas, was a request to approve transfers of funds as attached. These transfers were included on the January 29th finance agenda, but were inadvertently overlooked and were not approved. And they would be item 1 in your packet. So do I have a motion to put, anyone want to put this motion forward?
Brad McGowan.
Brad McGowan is the first. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Jack Diamond.
Second by Jack Diamond. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, carried. The second one is a request to appropriate $50,000 from the general fund unappropriated surplus account to budget code A.1680426. It's information technology subscriptions to cover the cost of security monitoring software for both data and physical devices within the county network. And I'm going to turn this over to Ryan. Did you want to make a couple comments on this, Ryan Moore?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
This item was initially put on as a budget transfer of $30,000 out of contingency. And we had discussed if we needed the full 50 in order to make the entries in the financial system and hold the prices, then we would look to take the 50 out of the unappropriated fund balance. We do need the full 50. The reason for that is that the $20,000 that we're hoping to get out of the Board of Elections grant, we're not going to know for certain how much of that grant is going to be left over for a couple of months probably. And in the interest of holding the prices with the contracts who are on, with the vendors who are on state contract, Mike is requesting the $50,000 a bit sooner than we'll know what's available from BOE.
Okay, that should be in your packet, item 2. So do I have anybody who has any, would like to put this resolution forward?
I'll put it forward.
Ms. Bramer, a second.
Brad McGowan.
Mr. McGowan, any discussion on this?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Thomas?
Is it possible to stipulate that the balance?
I can't hear. I'm sorry, Frank.
Is it possible to stipulate that any balance left over from the Board of Elections goes back to the general fund balance?
Ryan, did you want to answer that? Go ahead.
Yes, I think we should stipulate that any grant funding that does materialize, and remember, there's that $50,000 application that Mike does have out there. I would stipulate that any grant funding that we do get towards this $50,000, that we replace anything that came out of the fund balance in a corresponding amount.
Does that answer your question, Frank?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, resolution is passed. We're going to item number 3 on your agenda, request to amend the rules of the board to adjust the number of committee members on the executive committee by 1 due to a clerical error and to increase the numbers of members on the Public Works Committee, as well as to clarify the purpose and authority of the Executive Committee. Okay, that should be in your packets, items 3, and it's a number of pages. So, do I have a motion, Ms. Bramer?
Well, I feel uncomfortable passing this through our committee. I think the purpose of this committee is for more emergent, almost emergency type issues. And there's been a lot of discussion about this committee and about the rules of the board. And I really think that this should go to a committee. So I'd like to make a motion to table this and refer it over to government operations.
Okay, there's a table on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second. Shepler.
Who's the second?
Shepler.
Ms. Shepler? Okay, Ms. Shepler, second. So the motion is tabled and will be referred to the Government Ops Committee. Item number 4.
Wait a minute. Do we need to take a vote?
You need to vote on the motion to table, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor of the motion to table? Aye. Opposed? 1 opposed. Okay. Okay, thank you. Motion is carried. Item number 4, request to authorize the chair of the Board of Supervisors to designate the clerk of the Board of Supervisors to decide, review, authorize, and sign FOIL appeals when there is a conflict of interest. To give it some context, I'm going to ask Ryan Moore, can you give us some context to this request?
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I can.
Sorry, I lost my video for a second there. Would you mind repeating the item?
Yes, it's item number 4. It's the request to authorize the chair of the Board of Supervisors to designate the clerk of the Board of Supervisors to decide, review, authorize, sign FOIL appeals when there is a conflict of interest.
Right. Thank you. Don't have the agenda in front of me. So the question came about as to so the state law defines the FOIL appeals officer as the chief executive of the government. In our case, that's the chair of the Board of Supervisors. The question came to light, well, what does the FOIL appeal officer do in an instance when there's a potential conflict if that person's records are the ones that are subject to the FOIL appeal? The state law, this is public officers law, says that the chair of the Board of Supervisors is able to designate another official to handle the situation if that comes up. And the purpose of bringing this through the board, we do have a FOIL policy, and the request was made to bring it through the board rather than just have the chair of the board make that decision.
Okay. So do I hear anybody who wants to move this forward? Brad McGowan has made a motion to move it forward. Do I hear a second?
Jack Diamond.
Jack Diamond's a second, and also Edna's a third. Thanks, Edna. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss it.
Mr. Garrity?
Yeah. Why don't we keep this an elected official?
No.
If it's our chairman of board, why can't it be one of the members, elected members of the Board of Supervisors? I don't know what's going on.
Getting a little feedback.
Yeah.
Mr. Moore, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, I think that if that's what this committee and the Board of Supervisors would like to do, then that's within your discretion. We did ask at the Committee on Open Government who would be appropriate to fill a role such as this and who would not be appropriate. And the answer as to who would not be appropriate would be me, because I am the records access officer and I can't also be the appeal officer. And the other one that would not be appropriate would be the county attorney's office, because the county attorney's office is providing legal advice to me as the records access officer. And so to have them involved in the appeal would not make any sense either from the perspective of making the decision on the appeal. So beyond those, it's essentially the pleasure of the board. And I think that's why we're having the discussion at this level, is because the chair didn't feel comfortable making that decision on her own and wanted some feedback and some support from the rest of the board on that designation.
Mr. Garrity, a follow-up, and then Mr. Dickinson.
Just real quick, I'm just not comfortable asking our clerk of the board to get involved in FOIL requests. I just think it should be an elected official. I don't care. I understand it's the chairman's right to choose. But it should be. I love Zoom, guys. This is terrific. I love this Zoom
I think
meeting.
the mic is on that.
Oh. Okay. Anyway,
We lost the boardroom. Let's temporarily hold off on discussion until we get the boardroom back.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, we've got them back. You can hear, okay. At this time, Mr. Dickinson?
Excuse me, Doug.
I agree wholeheartedly. You guys done talking?
can I finish? Yeah. I'm just not comfortable putting the clerk of the board in that position. I understand the chairperson, if they have a conflict, they should have the right to appoint somebody, but I think it should be a member of the board of supervisors, not the clerk of the board.
Thank you, Kevin. Doug, I agree wholeheartedly with Kevin. I think this is an awkward thing and inappropriate to put on Amanda's shoulders. Some of the FOIL requests are from some longtime experienced foilers. And I don't think Amanda should have to put up with that. We're elected officials. We should take care of ourselves.
Okay,
I don't care what second order.
comments. Thank you, Dennis. Ron Conover?
Yeah, I think in the absence of the chairman being able to participate, I think it should logically fall to the deputy chairperson of the board. And should the deputy chairperson of the board not be able to participate for any reason, at that moment in time, it should either fall to the budget officer or the I guess presently the chairperson of personnel, because I think those are the officers. So I would say, you know, if for any reason, just like for any reason the chairperson cannot fulfill her responsibilities for any reason whatsoever, it falls to the deputy. The same thing should apply here, that if for any reason there should be a conflict on the part of any chair, it should fall to the deputy chair. And if the deputy chair can't participate for any reason of conflict, then it should go down the hierarchy of our officers. Would be my recommendation.
Okay. Frank, did you want to say something? Frank Thomas?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. Other discussion? Did I see Claudia Bramer hand up or not?
Jack Diamond.
Jack Diamond, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to agree that I think we ought to select someone else, an elected official, to fill in that role, whether it's a vice chairman or maybe previous chairman of the one-time committee, because they have experience in dealing with that in the past. So whatever the board decides, I can live with, but I was going to suggest maybe we ask one of the former previous chairpersons to sit in that role because of their experience. That's all.
So your suggestion is maybe the previous chairman who has experience in foiling, being an officer, be that individual. Is that what I heard, Frank?
That's what I suggested, Jack.
Okay.
And if the previous chairperson is willing to do that, that would be great. But if not, we could ask another previous chairperson that has had experience in that matter.
Okay. Ben Driscoll.
Thanks to you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if you can see it, but a couple of us have posted on the chat box, so with our opinions on the matter.
Chairman?
Okay, I see one from you, Ben. I see one from John.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there any other comments?
I do have a comment, Chairman. This is Bramer.
Go ahead, Ms. Bramer.
Thank you, Supervisor Beatty. I would say that I agree with Supervisor Diamond's suggestion that a prior chair who has already dealt with the FOIL appeals would be a good choice. I know Amanda would be totally objective and do a great job, but I do think it should be an elected person and somebody that already has experience in handling these. So I think that's a good way to go. And if the people who made the motion and seconded are okay with that amendment to swap out clerk of the board to past chair of the board. Did you make that motion, Supervisor McGowan?
No, but I can if you'd like me.
Oh, okay.
So Supervisor McGowan, you're making a motion that say it again, what the motion is again, please?
The motion would to be to make the past chairman the first go-to for FOIL.
Okay.
For FOILs that cannot be handled at the beginning, what's the word? For a conflict of the FOIL appeals. Officer.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, Amanda, correct?
Yes, you had a motion from Mr. McGowan, seconded by Mr. Diamond. It sounds to me like Mr. McGowan is amending that motion.
Okay, and he's amended the motion to be the former chairman, to be the FOIL's conflict officer or whatever, right?
Right.
Okay. I guess, any discussion before we call, any discussion on that motion? Ron Conover?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it on his face. I don't have a problem with Frank assuming those responsibilities, and in the possibility that Frank is unable to do it, I guess I assume those responsibilities. But I'm really a little curious as to why we would bypass our entire leadership structure for something like this that one assumes is only going to happen now and then again, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm paid to serve. I'll be happy to do it. If Frank, for whatever reason, can't do it, I'll be happy to do it. But it just would seem to me that you have people that are part of our leadership structure. We should follow that structure. I mean, I don't understand why we would bypass the deputy chairman. I don't know why we would do that, or bypass any of the other leadership people in this regard. I guess my question would be to those that are advancing that is why are we bypassing our officers?
Chairman Beatty,
Go ahead, Ms. Bramer.
I would ask,
Ms. Bramer, we can't hear you. Amanda, can you hear me? Is Ms. Bramer in the boardroom? Pardon me?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, though, her microphone's not working.
You're muted.
can you hear me now, Chairman?
Yes, I can.
My question was, how were the FOIL conflicts on appeals handled in the past with our prior chairs of the board? Was that something that was written, and why can't we have it be our past chairman who have the experience here? That's my question back to
We're getting a lot of feedback.
you. Hold on just a second.
Okay, I'm not getting the feedback. I'm not sure if anyone else is. Okay, so there is a motion on the floor. I guess if I don't see any more discussion, we'll vote on the motion on the floor. Amanda? Yes.
I think you have Chairwoman Seaver would like to speak.
Okay. Chairwoman Seaver, you have the floor. She's not speaking, is she? We can't hear it.
I don't know what the hell. This is a train wreck.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now, Chairman Beatty?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. We're getting horrible, as we have no idea why, echoing here in the boardroom. But to keep it short, perhaps the appeals didn't happen as often with prior chairs, but I know since 2018, there's been a policy that those appeal decisions get sent out to the board. And I think that was something that just needed some clarification. I feel confident we're going to be following that policy, and we'll all see how many appeals were done. That being said, I don't know how many times it really happened where their appeal officer had a conflict. The very first appeal that was filed with this board was in regards to me. And I was incredibly uncomfortable with making that decision upon advice from legal counsel. I rebate that decision. After that, we were able to find out from the Committee for Open Government that in fact, there was another alternative, along with some other legal advice with that. So we went ahead and asked the Personnel Committee how, based on the advice from Open Government and from our own county attorney, how we could handle that. And the recommendation was that the cleanest way was to have a resolution, even though it's not required, but our policy needed to be amended. So that's why we're here, so that we can all make this good informed decision together in the spirit of which I continue to hear everyone talk about inclusiveness, and I totally applaud that. That being said, Supervisor Conover, to your point, it shouldn't happen very often, but when it does, it should be handled by people that are experienced with handling appeals. And those that are experienced are those gentlemen who have sat in this role as chair before me. An idea suggested by NISAC was actually the county clerk of the board. Many other people suggested all different types of employees. And Amanda, as our county clerk of the board, had mentioned perhaps there'd be times where she would have conflicts, say if it was my mileage reimbursement, which not many would say it was, and it went to her for appeal. Her office maintains those records. So that may not be a great solution, which is why all of you as a member of this committee got an email earlier today with 3 different options that perhaps we could talk about. So I appreciate the dialogue. And as long as Frank, as the prior chair, doesn't mind, heading this off in terms of having to make these decisions, automatically in the event that I have a conflict, that would be great. But our 1968 local law identifies a finance chair who can stand in my absence or when I'm unavailable or incapacitated. And I certainly hope that doesn't happen, but it doesn't speak to conflict. And so we're here today to discuss that. And to Kevin Garrity's point, Supervisor Garrity, of wanting someone with a lot of experience, I don't know how there could be more experience in the prior chairs of this board or town supervisors themselves that have been appeal officers in this particular instance. So if that FOIL conflict comes in and it's about me and Frank together, well then, yes, Supervisor Conover, it would go to you. And if in the event next year, it would just be whatever prior chairs in chronological order are still serving on this board. That way, none of us are accused of picking our friends or someone we like to make a decision on an appeal. It's a position, not a person. And it seems the cleanest way to handle it. But of course, I defer to this board to make that decision. And I appreciate the opportunity to explain the position that I'm in. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share this with you today.
Okay, so seeing no other questions from the committee, I'm going to call the question that the motion was put forth by Mr. McGowan and second by Mr. Diamond. So all in favor of those having the FOIL appeals officer be the former chairman, say aye. Aye. Opposed? One opposed. Let it be shown that there is one opposition. Okay, carried. Item number 5. It's in your packet. It's request to appoint the Washington County representatives to Warren Washington County Industrial Development Agency. Warren County appointments were adopted at the January 15th board meeting, and resolutions needed to adopt Washington counties based on the draft resolution provided. So if you go to your packets on item number 5, go to your packets on item number 5, you'll see the, let's see here. You'll see all the information as well as the individuals that are on the board. So do I have a motion to take this to the floor, resolution to the floor? Mr. Dickinson, second by Mr. Thomas. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none in the boardroom, correct, Amanda?
None opposed
Okay.
here.
All right, we're going to go to item number 6. It was a fairly late item. It's hopefully you have it in your packet. It's a request to commit to providing $1 million towards addressing the needs at Countryside Adult Home, which were identified in the Beardsley report dated May 6, 2019. The planning department has identified a potential source of grant funding to implement some of the improvements and repair the Countryside Adult Home outlined in the Beardsley report. The total amount of work that needs to be done is about $1.5 million. There's currently $250,000 in the reserve for Countryside for repairs. The grant would be $300,000, leaving $1 million to be bonded and paid off over 5 years. This bond will be only sought if the grant is awarded. So, who would like to bring this to the floor? Well, I'll tell you what, let's have a discussion first to give us some context. Mr. McGowan, would you give us some context of this?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the questions I have, are we also applying for the grant? Is Wayne with us? Wayne Lamont, you're not with us? Okay.
He's joining right now.
I thought we were also one of the reasons for this was to bring up is applying for the grant, because that has to be in March. And if Wayne, once Wayne's in, if he can just confirm that, I believe this is what Andrea and I discussed. And then as in the package, with item 6 is the next page after the request is all the work to be performed up at the county Countryside. So, basically what we have is a building up there that needs upgrades, and it's kind of in the same theory as what Kevin Hadros is doing with the DPW and the roads.
It's you.
That's not me. So, it's to the point where we have to do some repairs, and if we wait to do them, just like in the roads, it's going to cost more money. So, in discussion of this, we've come through with the things that, that we need to improve up at the Countryside, and applying for this grant for the $300,000, which is a 2-year grant. So it gives us some time to pull this all together and to start the work. And so I'm just trying to, if Wayne is there to help me.
But, well, we're all we're doing right now is seeking context before we actually ask for a motion. But Wayne, if you're on, if you'd like to supply additional context to this proposed resolution, feel free.
Sure, if I may. The state of New York has made available funding in the amount of $300,000 for public facilities. One of the projects we did previously was a assessment of the needs at Countryside. And that report, known as the Beardsley report, was done in May of 2019. In that report, there was a spreadsheet that came out with a number of recommendations, both wish list and I'll call it wish list, and essential items. once the state announced funding, I looked at that Beardsley report. I talked with Kevin Hajos and said, you know, what can we pare down the Beardsley report to that would include only items that are structurally necessary or code or health code required. That there's a spreadsheet I think that you probably got that relates that to immediate needs and priority one needs. The total for those is about 1.5 million. The grant could be 300,000. There's about 250,000 in the reserve fund right now. Ballpark leaves $1 million. So the question before, you know, it's not a question I wanted to answer. It's a question for the board. You have this opportunity. You know, if the board wants to provide the a bond for the other $1 million or some other means to fund that, the grant requirement is such that all those needs must be met. They don't want to put a roof on the building and then have fire doors that are inadequate or have any other code or structural concerns in the building. So they want to address all the required or priority needs. So, you know, having said that, I went through my committee chair and said, this is a decision for the board. Here's an opportunity. Does the board want to invest in Countryside? Now, it will take $1 million from the board to get 300,000 of grant money. Is that a cost benefit return that you want to entertain? As I said, that's not my decision. That's your decision. I'm giving the opportunity to you to make that decision. And if you want, we'll submit a grant application. We just need a commitment from the board that upon notification of funding, that the county would provide the balance of the $1 million through either surplus funds or bonding.
Okay, so that's a good context of this proposed resolution. Is there anyone who'd like to move this resolution? Supervisor Dickinson would like to move it. Do I have a second? Dennis, you can talk in a sec, right? Let me
No problem.
Okay, a second by Mr. Thomas. Was that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Discussion. Dennis, go ahead.
Well, I think this is one of our premier facilities in the county, and I've always said two of the major things that you should be doing as a supervisor is taking care of the old people and taking care of the young people. So I think this is a no-brainer. We've got a report that says we need to do this work. We got a chance to get $300,000 to help us with that work. I think it's an opportunity we can't pass up.
Thank you, Dennis. Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Jack Diamond.
Yes.
I have to agree with Supervisor Dickinson. The only thing that I'd like to add is that I'd rather bond at the band and then possibly to a bond in the future rather than take it out of the undesignated fund balance. It's something that's got to be done. Regardless, it's got to be the grant. Hopefully, regardless, we get the grant. Hopefully, we still got to take care of this building. So I would support it, Chairman.
Okay, I just want to recap what I think I heard, all right? That you would like to have it, you're in support of this resolution?
Yes, I am. I don't think we have any options other than taking it from our undesignated fund balance. That would make sense when the interest rates and bond rates are so low. We finance it and we get the work done, period.
Okay. Yes, Ryan Moore, did you have a comment?
I have a question. Countryside is reimbursed by the State Department of Health. After you take out the private pay revenue, it's reimbursed, I think, about 48% by the State Department of Health. There is a difference between how the State Department of Health will reimburse the county if we were to invest up front $1 million out of the fund balance, as opposed to how they would reimburse us for debt service on borrowed funds. That question needs to be answered. I don't know what the answer is, and I'm hoping that somebody that worked on this does.
Okay, Mr. Stroud.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a good expense, but I have a question. So it gets by the executive committee, and then this will go to the full board for a vote? I mean, just so I understand.
That's, it's not being referred, no one is referring it to another committee. It came to us from facilities, was it? Brad, did you bring it, or was it
And,
Andrea?
no.
Well, the reason why, all right, so the answer is no, this does not go to the full board for a vote?
Oh, this would have to go to the full board for a vote, yeah, I believe so, John, yes.
All right, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't know this new committee and how it was structured, and I think it's only proper. I'm not opposed to it. I'm in favor of it, as a matter of fact. I just wanted to know the procedure, that it does make sense that this would go, it's $1 million. I mean, it should go to a full board
Oh,
vote.
sure, I totally agree, John.
All right, thank you.
Yep, Brad?
I also asked Mike Swan to come to see if he had any questions and some of the ways that we thought we could finance and, apply this, if anybody would like to hear between Mike Swan, our treasurer, and our budget officer, Frank.
Okay, so is Mr. Swan in the room?
He is.
Okay, I'm going to refer to Mr. Swan and then Mr. Thomas.
Yes, I am here. Thank you, Chairman. The only thing I have to say is, and I refer to our budget officer too, that we borrow $1 million, the payback over 5 years is $220,000 a year. We also have on the docket the wall in Bolton and the highway fund. So if you, and we're talking about borrowing for that also, which means about $5 million. And a $5 million loan over 5 years is $1.1 million to $1.2 million a year. So we just, I'm not saying don't, I'm just saying realize that this is going to increase our debt service, and it will be a difficult thing to budget with a situation where we have unknown revenue. We haven't seen any casino money since 2019. The tobacco money is going down. We have other revenue sources that are going down. And I want to say it publicly, governor's budget that's coming up April 1st, I will almost guarantee you that they take more money out of our sales tax to help balance the budget at the state. So these are things that we need to consider. I'm not saying don't, I'm just saying be mindful that going into debt means you have to pay it back, and that could be a problem in the next year. Any questions?
Okay, Mr. Thomas? Then you, Dennis. Mr. Thomas first, then Dennis.
As I look at it, the reason that the reserve was established in the first place by this board. And this is an opportunity to put it, and I think we have to budget it and make it work.
Will your recommendation, Mr. Thomas, be to bond the $1 million or to take it out of general fund?
No, I think I would do a 5-year ban. No, I think I would do a 5-year ban.
Okay, 5-year ban. Okay. Dennis, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mike a question. Mike, I mean, we send sales tax to the state and they just take out what they want and send us the rest?
Pretty much what they're doing now. I mean, they take $50,000.
Why does that strike me as
300 and some thousand for the distressed hospitals in New York City. This year, 2021, they're going to take about $800,000 right off the top of our sales tax, which means 400 less for the county and 400 less for distribution to the town. And like I said, I'll guarantee you that they take more money out when they try to balance the budget April 1st.
I don't get it. We don't have any safeguards against them raiding our sales tax. I mean, we live and die with our sales tax.
Yeah, we don't, Dennis. Last I knew, they were taking 57.4% out of every dollar, and it's going to be, as Mike has said, it's going to be more. So.
That's incredible to me. They take more and more money away from us and give us more and more things to do that they don't fund.
Unfunded mandates, yep,
Jeez.
yep. Any other comments? I totally agree with you, Dennis.
Yeah,
Wayne, you had a comment?
Chairman, I have a comment.
Okay, Wayne, and then I think that was Claudia. So Wayne first.
Yeah, just in response to Ryan's comment, I did ask Mike this morning about it, whether that would impact the Department of Health reimbursements. And I also forwarded his email to Chris Hanchett, and Chris just got back to me and said it's something that they will look into. So I don't have an answer to that yet. That's something I was unaware of on the reimbursements, whether this could affect it. Again, that should be part of the decision-making process, though.
Okay, so Ryan Moore, and then Claudia.
I don't know. I don't know how we commit right now to whether it's going to be a ban or whether it's going to come out of the fund balance without knowing the answer to that question. I'm wondering if we can move forward with this item, but leave that calculation open for further discussion and determination.
Okay, Claudia, did
Thank you,
you?
Chairman, I'm really glad to hear so many members of this board talk about prioritizing our seniors and making sure that we upgrade that facility. And I completely agree. When I first joined this board, right before that, we sold our nursing home, and I thought that was a giant mistake. We should have been protecting our seniors and making sure that we held on to that facility for them. So I agree with spending this money. It's a lot, and I would like to know where we are with our other infrastructure projects. We had a big inventory process that was undertaken under Chairman Conover. And where are we with understanding where our other priorities lie as far as spending money on infrastructure projects, not just the ones that pop up and are an emergency like the wall in Bolton. So I'm asking that of Wayne if you'll allow me to make that question, Chairman.
You'd like to, I didn't hear the last part. I'm sorry, Ms. Kramer.
My question is for Wayne about where are we with prioritizing other projects in the county, infrastructure projects?
Okay, before I have Wayne answer that, is any supervisor not spoken that would like to speak? And then we'll go through the second round. Okay, Wayne, and then you, Dennis, after Wayne.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, the capital improvement plan. One of the reasons I looked at Countryside for this funding round is because the Countryside is in the capital improvement plan. This is one of the projects that we picked out of there. Also, at the last planning committee meeting, we did talk about doing grant application for Warrensburg, their sewer district, and for the Pottersville Water District. Both of those are in the capital improvement plan. So for the extent that we can, or that there's a funding source, we are picking projects out of that capital improvement plan that relates to operations of this office. That's all I can say at this point.
Okay, Dennis, and then Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Doug. Claudia, in response to your comment about Westmont facility, I was on the board when we built that facility. And I was on the board when we sold it. And if you look at the statistics and all the information leading up to that, we were in no position to keep it. We couldn't run it the way we wanted to run it, and it was getting away from us. We were losing money. We were losing $100,000 and some a month to keep that facility. We were lucky we sold it.
Thank you. Mr. Driscoll, then Mr. Garrity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since we're challenged with the timeliness of the grant application, is it prudent to, I guess, recommend or move that we proceed with the application and then before our board meeting, figure out whether it's plan A or plan B as far as bonding or going into our funds?
I believe Mr. Moore concurs with that. Mr. Garrity, what did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say that planning department, as far as the capital projects, I went to Wayne on capital projects. We looked at capital projects that we had in our capital project plan, and we picked out a couple of engineering studies to move forward with this latest CBG grant application, which is due on the 5th of March. So, you know, I work in concert with Wayne and the planning department all the time to move ahead. When we see these opportunities, we jumped on them, and Wayne's been very helpful in making suggestions. Same with Countryside. I think we need to allow him to put the ask in the grant, and then we can figure out how much we need to pay for it later on. I mean, it is an aging facility, and if you don't keep it up, it's going to cost us a lot more than this in the future. So I give kudos to the planning department because we're working hand in hand with them on the CBG application that the county's putting forward. But it came up on us awful fast. I think everybody knows that. And I don't think we're the only community that's included. Are we, Wayne?
No.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor, but it sounds like it needs to be amended to have the funding source be open-ended at this point. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes, Wayne?
Yeah, the only thing the resolution needs to say is that the county will commit to providing the $1 million. You don't need to actually to say right now where it's coming from, but that upon funding award, the county would provide the balance of that money. And at that point in time, you can decide where it's coming from.
Thank you. Andrea, did you want to make a comment?
No, I hate to jump in on a conversation that I missed half of. I'm just want to say I encourage all of you to support this. You know, again, I'm pretty sure somebody must have made the point along the way that the 1 million commitment is only if we get the grant, right? We're going to have to figure out these repairs some other way if we don't get the grant, but let's not miss our chance to go for this grant. I think it's timely. I think it's important. It's good work. Let's do it.
Okay, very well said. So Amanda, do we need to have the current resolution amended or just fill me in?
Well, the item on the agenda is just to commit to providing $1 million towards addressing the needs of Countryside Adult Home. You do have a motion in a second. It sounds like that covers what Wayne said you needed. And at a future date, you need to determine the source of funding when the grant comes up.
Okay, so hopefully everybody heard that. So I'm going to, seeing no other hands or discussion, I'm going to call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? How did the boardroom do, Amanda?
Everyone's in favor. There's no opposition.
Everyone was aye. Okay, motion carried. We just have one discussion item on your agenda. We just wanted to get a status update basically on the 2021 Americade. So I'm gonna, there's a few people I think that have been communicating with a lot of different parties. So I'm gonna ask for an update from first Mr. Garrity and then Mr. Moore, and then if Sheriff LaFar is on, I'll ask him for an update. This is the Americade event and the Balloon Festival. Go ahead, Mr. Garrity.
Okay, I did talk with Kristen Dutcher the other day, and I asked about, was there any potential to move this event to a different weekend? And at this point right now, he doesn't feel he can. He can't go any later than September because people won't want to ride. Right now, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There are 15 motorcycle events between March 3rd, which starts in Daytona Beach, Florida, up till October, which there's 2 more in Florida in October. So I've asked Kristen to come into our next Oxytex meeting, which I believe will be on the 22nd, Amanda?
I believe so.
Yes, it's a Monday, the 22nd. We've asked Kristen to come in to address these issues. You know, I went through this with him, and we looked at the events. We looked at the other events happening on the other weekends. Obviously, he'd like to keep it in June, but there's no guarantee. And I certainly don't want to go through the same scenario we went before, where we put out money to an event that didn't happen, and then we have not a lot to show for it. So He will come into our committee meeting. I'm sure he can answer your questions better than I, but I did go out and get a list of events that's going to be happening in the future. And I can understand why he can't go against one of these events right now. I do understand that, but of course he can come in and talk to everybody. And the other thing too, we also have checked the room nights. The room nights generated by the Balloon Fest and the room nights possibly generated by this. And I believe there will be a conflict getting enough room nights to hold both of these events on that same weekend. So we certainly need to talk to him. And I believe he'll be here on the 22nd of February if Joanne can make contact with him. He'll either be here in person or on Zoom.
Thanks for the update, Kevin. Brad, did you have one? And then I'll go to you, Dennis, okay? Brad first and then Dennis.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, Kevin and I talked about it and we had a brief chat, and I would just, reiterate what Kevin said, but no, he was spot on, and moving it over to his committee, I think it's a great move.
Okay, thank you. Dennis?
I think this is a one-off. Hopefully next year you can have it in June when he's supposed to have it.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of options on weekends. Apparently, he's felt this is a weekend he can do it. And I don't think it's that incompatible with the Balloon Festival. I think this time of year that they won't have any problem with motel rooms. And I think people that come to Americade would enjoy Balloon Festival. That'd be a nice ride over there and watch the balloons go up and down. So I think it's well worth the shot. And again, it's a one-off thing, it's not a big deal. I'd go for it. He's the guy. He's the guy that's got all the numbers and got all the facts and figures. So I trust him.
Okay. All right, so he'll be coming to the
He and his
Architects.
dad's done a great job for
in about a
30
week,
years, whatever.
a little over a week. Thank you, Dennis. Any other discussion on that?
I would just add to reiterate what Dennis says, he does plan, he needs to get back to June next year. He wants to do that, but he can't go 2 years without hosting the event. That's for sure. And when the event is moved to September, we probably won't see the crowds that you normally would see in a early June event. But, he's taking a chance by having it in September, but he really wants to, I think we need to support him as much as we can on having this event. But he is, he's open to everything, and Dennis is 100% correct. He has he knows his stuff, and he's willing to work with us in any way possible. But I keep an open mind about it. Let him come to committee and talk to us.
Okay. Don, is there any public comment?
Yes, we do have some public comment on the earlier issue about the FOIL appeals officer. It'd be from a June Maxim. She writes via email, in regard to the proposed resolution concerning FOIL's appeals officer that is on the agenda for today's executive committee meeting, please be advised that as per Kristen O'Neill, Assistant Director of the NYS Committee on Open Government, at a webinar conducted today on FOIL, if the county attorney is writing the decisions in response to FOIL appeals, as we all know that she or her staff is, then they should be the ones signed the response as the FOIL's appeal officer, not anyone else who clearly does not have the legal expertise to issue legal opinions, such as Rachel Sieber or Amanda Allen or anyone other than non-attorney. Also, note that O'Neill and COOG has opined that supervisors and other public officials who use their personal email addresses to discuss county business are subject to FOIL. You can't use a personal email address to try and circumvent FOIL. Ms. Maxim also wrote, I totally disagree with Moore's comments claiming that COOG says county attorney can't be the appeals officer. That is wholly contrary to what Kristen O'Neill stated this morning. Let's be truthful. That is the end of the public comment that we have.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. By Dennis, second by Andrea. All in favor? Aye. Away we go. Thanks, gang.
Thank you.